talking about this a few years ago was extremely dangerous. Now that we have YouTube and more social networking devices, such as even Rupert's MySpace, this is really getting out in such a way that they can't control it. They must just be really, if you can use the expression, shitting themselves over this, because they can't control people now talking about the elephant in the room, what is so obvious to all of us.
There's a feeling from that area that the states doing all of these weather modification programs might not be doing it for the benefit of the citizens of Texas and other states that they may impact as well.
Well, many of the planes that we're seeing here in Abilene will actually turn whatever they're spraying on and off right before our eyes. I mean, you'll see a plane up there flying like normal. Actually turn whatever they're spraying on and off right before our eyes. I mean, you'll see a plane up there flying like normal, and then all of a sudden it starts spraying. We've seen them fly off into the distance and then loop around and fly back again. These are not your typical planes with a preordained path destination from city to city. Someone needs to explain to me, why do they stop traveling in one particular direction and then loop around and come back again? They perform this behavior so many times that we start seeing the tic-tac-toe grids in the sky. We're witnessing the giant X's. And I mean, Rosalind, when you and I grew up, these contrails naturally dissipated in a few seconds or perhaps a minute max. But these things expand, they grow bigger, and before you know it, the entire sky is overcast.
That's correct. And they are there all day. They do loop the loop around our county and our state. We follow them at times with spotters in different areas, watching the planes loop, come back around. And we know from the FAA records that the jets from commercial airlines fly in straight lines, and coming across our county, there aren't many, and they stay mostly in certain patterns. The jets that we see leaving the persistent jet contrails move in directions that normal jets wouldn't fly because it would use too much fuel and put them off schedule. And the jets that we see here do loops. We've got pictures of them looping the same X's and crosshatches. But I believe that some of that, not only are they looking for keeping something in the air almost all the time, but we feel that some of the markings are to mark the start and stop areas for their programs so that they can watch their experiments either from satellite or the ground.
Why do they want to keep this quiet? Why aren't they talking about this? Why don't they want us talking about it? And you can only come to the conclusion that they're hiding something.
Now, do you believe that this is a full-scale secret operation that includes not only the U.S. but Europe and the rest of the world?
Well, that's apparent because you can see the pictures from all over the world, and I get them constantly. Some areas are worse than others.
The upper portion of the screen is leaving a normal contrail, and it vanishes as any trail of water vapor is expected to. But beneath it, you see an aircraft emission that is stationary, thick, continuous, and persistent, and it must eventually be concluded that it is not primarily water vapor. The environmental conditions for each trail are not exceptionally different from one another, and yet the result and impact from each trail is entirely different.
HR 2977, an actual federal document, an actual federal bill, admitting that they're spraying chemical and biological weapons on us through the use of something called chemical trails that they're adding to jet fuel, especially in military aircraft.
I recently discovered that most of Britain was sprayed in biological weapons trials between 1940 and 1979. Are the chemtrails being sprayed over Britain at the moment a continuation of these experiments, or are they part of the New World Order's population reduction plan, as they are now being reported all over the planet?
Chemtrails to wear down a person's immune system.
One is leaving a big stripe, and ahead is a smaller plane with just a normal contrail. It vanished after a few seconds. No chemicals or whatsoever. And then it's followed by this plane at the same height with a completely other trail, a chemtrail. these trails are gonna stick until it's become a big cloud like you see behind these new stripes. There goes the little one without chemicals, and here's one with chemicals. Strange.